Hey everybody, Metal Shop Steve back. I have kind of an exciting week, exciting for me. Hopefully you're excited too. This week I'm actually going to do two videos about one of my favorite bands, a band that I've not talked about yet, and I don't know why I've been putting it off, but I've kind of been waiting around a little bit. So what I'm going to do is two videos this week. The first video, which I'm doing right now, is we're going to talk about the new album. And then the video that I'm going to follow up with after this is kind of, we're going to go back and look at the previous albums. So here we go today, new album review. Today we are talking about Walk the Sky by Alter Bridge. Alter Bridge, one of my all-time favorite bands. So not going to get into the band that much because if you're watching this video, then you probably already know who Alter Bridge is, but just a little bit of history there. Back in the early 2000s when Creed kind of broke up, some of the members kind of reformed together. They brought in a fantastic vocalist named Myles Kennedy and reformed as Alter Bridge, and that's kind of where it's at. So without too much other talk about that, because I'll get into that in the video, the next video where I talk about kind of the whole back catalog. So this album, Walk the Sky, came out pretty recently. This is actually Alter Bridge's 6th studio album, so they've been doing it for quite a while. This one came out more or less 3 years after the previous album came out. So I'd say we're going to get right into it. I think I'm just going to go down and talk about all the songs here. I'll tell you which ones I like the best. And as always, just because I don't mention a song does not mean that I don't like it. It's just not one of the ones that I want to talk about. So kind of going right down from the start, One Life is the opening track. Kind of starts quiet and whispery in the intro, and then I don't know, it's just kind of an intro type of about a minute and a half long. So kind of just an intro to the album, I would say. But then Fear Not, right away, track number 2, the first actual rocker of the album, is called Wouldn't You Rather. It's heavy, it's riffy, it's upbeat. And I will say this, the whole album to me is very upbeat, very positive, very forward focused. And I think that's the best way to describe this album overall. And not that Alter Bridge necessarily put out a lot of downer albums, but by far this one is really, I'd say, more upbeat and positive than anything else they've ever done, at least as a whole. You know, Alter Bridge, for my money, even though they have that Alter Bridge sound on every album, they try to make sure that instrumentally and vocally, the arrangements of the songs are kind of unique enough that you're not feeling like you're listening to the same song over and over again. Mark Tremonti, the guitarist, he's been around for a while too, absolutely fantastic guitarist. And he really knows how to arrange and play different parts and just kind of do everything that you're looking for your shredding hero to do. Lyrically, again, positive. The lyrics seem personal, kind of a journey, searching for something, I think. It's all about being conscious, about making, I guess, kind of the right choices in life. A lot of self-discovery, I think, here. And I don't really know for sure what was behind this. But that's just kind of how it seems to me. Introspective, maybe, a little spiritual without being religious. So that's, you know, for me, that's kind of the wrap up on overall the songwriting. Of course, Myles Kennedy, his voice is very versatile. He can go from a growl to a yell to very gritty rock sounding to very sweet and soaring, and he can do it all. And then, of course, Mark Tremonti, he's getting all these different sounds and tones out of his guitar. He mixes it up, he keeps the crunch in there. Just fantastic. So here we go, back into the songs. So I said, Wouldn't You Rather? It's heavy, it's riffy, it's kind of upbeat. Another one here, Godspeed. That one starts out with just like a tiny taste of kind of an orchestral sound, a little piano there, before it gets into Again, kind of the traditional Alter Bridge type of sound, the rock, the soaring vocals, and this one even to me is a little bit progressive sounding. You know, I'm a big Dream Theater fan. I'm not going to make a comparison necessarily, but just some of the elements to this song have a little bit of a progressive feel to them. So I like that. Take the Crown is another song on here. It's kind of, to me, it sounds like it's offering up a challenge. It's a challenging song. It's an aggressive song. But again, it stays positive lyrically. And that's really the theme throughout this whole album, I believe. So then an interesting thing happened for me here. If this were a cassette tape or a record like back in the day, you would have side A and side B. For me, side B of this album, the second side of the album, is where all my favorite songs are. In fact, I try to go down the list and mark out what my favorite songs are to talk about, and they all fall from 7 through 14 in there. So let's get right into it. My first favorite here, Indoctrination. It's got this kind of quiet, menacing start to it. A little bit different than anything on the album so far. It's churning, it's a little grinding, and then it rises up, it opens up, and then, you know, again, you're getting your full-on Alter Bridge sound here. Pay No Mind, another one that I really, really like on here. Again, this one is darker, it's more aggressive than the other stuff on the album. It's got that challenging kind of feel to it. So maybe I do like when they stick a little bit darker. But that being said, we move forward. Forever Falling is another one that I love here. A really, excuse me, fast riff. And this one put me in mind really of some of the previous Alter Bridge albums like Blackbird. It just had that kind of feel to it. The drums in this track were really great, just showing off a little bit of his technique. So that's that one. The next one, Clear Horizon. Love that one as well. That one has kind of this slow build again, and that's really kind of, if you like Alter Bridge, then you know that's how they work, especially here on this album. They all seem to start kind of slower, and then they build and they soar and they just take off. And then kind of, I guess, where the title of the album was inspired or kind of connected to it, Walking on the Sky. And that one is your anthem on here. I'm not sure if they released an actual single here. They probably did. I don't usually pay attention to that kind of stuff, especially if it's a band I already love. But this one is your anthem. This one is, if I had to pick a first single to come off of this album without even knowing what they did, this is the one I would pick. I really love this song. Probably my favorite on the album. Maybe next to Pay No Mind. Maybe my top 2 songs there on this album. And then, you know, they kind of have this little bit of a darker stretch on the album for maybe 2 or 3 songs, and then they build back up into the positive, uplifting songs right toward the end. So where does this fit in with all the other Alter Bridge albums out there? As I said, again, this is their 6th studio album, so a lot of music to talk about. For me, I'm going to tell you where this album stands in my ranking of all 6 Alter Bridge albums. I'm going to tell you that in the follow-up video to this, where we talk about more Alter Bridge, all the Alter Bridge, and I'm going to try to do it as swiftly as possible so we're not spending half an hour talking about Alter Bridge. But that's it. Overall, I've got to say it's a good album. I've got to say that, you know, again, positive is the vibe here, but you're not losing any of your Alter Bridge stuff that you like. You're not losing, I mean, you've got the Myles Kennedy vocals that are always going to be there. You've got Mark Tremonti just continuously kind of evolving and throwing more stuff at you, and everything kind of sounds a little bit different. So there it is, Walk the Sky, Alter Bridge, and I can confidently say, especially as a fan, get this album, you'll like it, especially if you were not a big fan of the previous couple of albums, which I know kind of up for debate there. But again, we'll talk about that later. But this one is definitely a change definitely from the last 2 albums. So there you go. Thanks for coming by, and make sure you check out the next video where we talk more Alter Bridge.